They said the dragon of the north could not be killed. Its roar shook mountains, its breath turned rivers to steam, and whole villages lived in fear. But one young man, armed with nothing but a stolen ring of Solomon, dared to ride an iron horse into its jaws. What happened that night shook the earth itself. Long ago, so long that no one alive today can count the years, there lived a monster from the north. The elders said it was no ordinary beast. Its body was like that of a great ox, its legs bent like a frog's, with 2 short legs in the front and 2 long ones behind. From its back stretched a serpent's tail, so long that it could coil around 10 trees. When it moved, it did not walk. It jumped, and with one spring, it could cover half a mile of ground. Wherever it landed, death followed. The creature devoured men and animals alike. Villages disappeared. Fields turned empty. The earth itself seemed cursed under its shadow. The people soon learned that nothing could kill it. Its whole body was covered in hard scales, stronger than stone or iron. Its eyes shone like fire, day and night. And whoever looked too long into those eyes lost all sense, ran forward like a goat to the slaughter, and threw themselves straight into its open jaws. That was how the dragon fed. It did not need to chase. It only needed to wait. One kingdom after another tried to kill it. Soldiers, hunters, even sorcerers all failed. A great forest was once set ablaze to burn it alive, but when the fire died, the dragon crawled out unharmed. Fear grew, hope faded, and whispers spread that unless help came soon, nothing would remain alive on earth. But in the midst of this terror, the wise men remembered an old saying. Only the one who finds King Solomon's ring, the ring that carries secret writing, can destroy the dragon. The problem was that no one knew where the ring was hidden. And even if someone found it, who among men was wise enough to read its writing? Still, the story of the ring was carried from mouth to mouth, from market to market, until it reached the ears of a young man whose heart was brave and whose courage knew no fear. In those dark days, while the dragon swallowed men as easily as groundnuts, one young man rose with courage in his heart. He was not the son of a king, nor the child of a great warrior. He was an ordinary man, yet he carried inside him a spirit that refused to bow to fear. When he heard of Solomon's ring, he said to himself, "If the ring exists, then I will find it. If wisdom hides in the east, then to the east I will go." And so, without riches or companions, he set out on a journey. His only strength was his determination. After many years of wandering, the young man reached the east, the land where the sun is born. There he met a great magician, an elder whose beard was white like cotton, and whose eyes were sharp like the eagle's. The young man bowed before him and said, "Help me, wise one. I seek Solomon's lost ring, for only it can defeat the dragon." The magician shook his head slowly. "Mortal men have little wisdom," he said. "If you want true guidance, listen not to men, but to the birds of the air. They know secrets that human tongues cannot tell." The youth frowned. "But how can I speak with birds?" The magician smiled. "Stay with me 3 days, and you will learn." That night the magician went into the forest alone. Under the moonlight he plucked 9 kinds of herbs, some bitter, some sweet, some that burned like fire when touched. From these he brewed a dark potion. For 3 days the youth drank 9 spoonfuls at dawn. On the first day his ears rang. On the second day he began to hear whispers in the trees. On the third day he understood the language of birds. From that moment he was never lonely. Wherever he walked, the sparrows, ravens, and parrots kept him company, and they told him things no man could know. Before he left, the magician warned, "If you find Solomon's ring, return to me. Only I can read the secret writing upon it. Without me, the ring is useless." The youth bowed in gratitude and went on his way. For many months, the young man traveled. But though the birds told him many things, none spoke of the ring. One evening, tired and hungry, he sat under a tall tree to eat. On the highest branch sat 2 birds, brightly feathered, gossiping in their own tongue. "Look at that wanderer below," said the first bird. "He seeks Solomon's ring, but his feet are weary." The second bird replied, "He will never find it unless he meets the witch maiden. She either has it, or she knows who does." The first bird scoffed. But she has no home. Today here, tomorrow gone. He might as well try to catch the wind. The second whispered, still in 3 nights' time, she will visit the spring when the moon is full. She comes to wash her face, so that her beauty never fades. The youth's heart leapt. He swore to follow the birds to that spring. The days dragged slowly. The birds remained in the tree, hopping about for food, while the young man waited below, fearful of losing them. At last, on the 3rd day, one bird said, "Now we must go. The moon will soon be full. The witch maiden will come to the spring." The birds flew south, and the youth ran after them, stumbling, gasping, but never letting them out of sight. At last, deep in the forest, he saw it, a clear spring, shining in a small open space. He sat beneath a tree, waiting. When the moon rose, silver and round, the forest grew silent. Then came a sound, soft as grass being parted. Out of the trees glided a maiden. She was so beautiful that the young man's breath caught in his throat. Her steps were light, her hair long like flowing water, and her skin glowed in the moonlight. She knelt by the spring. 9 times she bathed her face. 9 times she circled the water, singing softly. Full moon shining clear and bright. Keep my beauty in your light. Never let my face grow old. Keep my youth as you grow bold. When she finished, her eyes fell on the youth hidden under the tree. The maiden's gaze pierced him. She said, "Stranger, you dare to spy on my secret rites? I should punish you. But because you are new to this place, I forgive you. Tell me who you are and why you came." The youth bowed low. "Forgive me, maiden. I wandered far and slept beneath this tree. I did not mean to offend." Her voice softened. "Then come with me. Sleep under a roof instead of moss. You will be my guest tonight." The birds whispered from the branches, "Go with her. But remember, give her no blood, or your soul is lost." The youth followed. She led him through the forest to a house brighter than silver, glowing as if built from gold itself. Inside, candles burned on golden stands, lighting rooms more splendid than any palace. Silent maidens in white served them food at a table set for 2. The witch maiden in a golden chair, the youth in a silver one. Later, she showed him to a silken bed, softer than clouds. As he drifted to sleep, a whisper echoed near his ear. "Remember, give no blood." At dawn, she asked, "Stay with me. Marry me. You see how I never grow old, how I do what I wish, free from all men's commands. Be my husband, and live like a prince with me." The youth was tempted, but the bird's warning haunted him. So he said, "Let me think, maiden. A choice like this requires time." She smiled sweetly. "Take all the time you need." But even as she spoke, she showed him her greatest treasure, a golden box. Inside lay a shining ring, the very ring of Solomon. The youth asked the maiden, "Why is this ring so special?" Her eyes sparkled. "This is Solomon's ring, the greatest treasure under heaven. With it, I can do what no mortal can." She explained, "On my little finger, it gives me flight like a bird. On my 3rd finger, it makes me vanish like smoke. On my middle finger, no fire, no water, no blade can harm me. On my forefinger, I can summon anything I wish, gold, palaces, food, soldiers. On my thumb, my hand is stronger than iron, able to break rocks and walls." The youth's heart pounded. This was the very ring of the prophecy. Yet when she placed it back in the box, he kept silent, waiting for the right moment. One evening, she said softly, "When we marry, I will give you this ring as a gift. But love must be sealed. You must give me 3 drops of blood from the little finger of your left hand." At her words, the youth's blood turned cold. He remembered the warning, "Give no blood." But he hid his fear, pretending to laugh. Such a small price for such a treasure. But tell me, show me again how the ring works. I still doubt its power. The maiden smiled, believing his act. She slipped the ring onto her middle finger. "Strike me," she said, handing him a knife. He hesitated, but she urged him on. He pressed the blade hard against her skin, but it could not cut. The ring protected her like iron. Then she wore it on her 3rd finger. Instantly she disappeared, only to reappear laughing by his side. The youth clapped in wonder. "Let me try. If the ring is so strong, let me test it with my own hands." Without suspicion, she gave him the ring. The youth played the fool, asking, "Which finger makes me safe from blades?" "The middle finger of your left hand," she replied, laughing. He put it on. The knife could not harm him. Then he asked how to use its strength, and she led him outside to a boulder. "Place it on your thumb," she said. He obeyed, and with one blow of his fist, the rock shattered into dust. As she laughed in delight, the youth quietly slid the ring onto his third finger and vanished. The maiden gasped, "Friend, where are you? Come back, play no tricks." But the youth had no intention of returning. He placed the ring on his little finger, rose into the sky, and flew away like an eagle. He did not rest until he reached the Eastern magician, who had taught him the language of birds. When the elder saw the ring, his eyes widened. "At last, you have found it." For 7 weeks, the magician studied the markings on the ring. At last, he told the youth, "To defeat the dragon, you must build an iron horse with wheels under its feet, and a great spear as thick as a tree. Fasten chains to it, 10 fathoms long. Ride the iron horse with the ring's strength, drive the spear into the dragon's mouth, and bind him to the earth. Only then, when he is weak, can you strike the final blow." The youth bowed. His path was now clear. The youth did not waste time. He traveled across the land, from village to village, searching for the strongest blacksmiths. At last, he found 3 brothers, masters of fire and iron. Their arms were as thick as tree trunks, and their hammers fell like thunder on the anvil. He placed before them gold enough to last 7 lifetimes. "Forge me an iron horse," he said. "Let it be strong enough to carry the weight of the heavens. Give it wheels like a war chariot, and teeth sharp as a spear." The brothers shook their heads. "Young man, what you ask is madness. A horse of iron cannot breathe, cannot eat, cannot move." But he smiled and whispered, "With Solomon's ring, even iron obeys." They bent their backs to the task. For 40 days and nights, fire roared, sparks flew like stars, and the sound of hammers rolled across the land. In the end, the iron horse stood before them. Its body was dark and shining like the night sky. Wheels of bronze turned under its feet. A great spear, longer than 10 men lying head to toe, rose from its chest. The youth looked upon it and said, "When the drum speaks, the dancer must move. Soon, the dragon will hear my drum." The magician returned and tied chains of iron, each as long as a river canoe, to the horse's body. He taught the youth chants to awaken the beast and secret words to guide it. The youth climbed onto the horse and placed the ring upon his thumb. His arm became as strong as a giant's. He struck the ground, and the earth shook. The horse's wheels groaned, then rolled forward. Though it had no breath, it moved as though it lived, answering only to the youth's will. The people of the villages gathered to see. They clapped their hands to their mouths and whispered, "Surely this is no man. Surely this is a spirit in flesh." But the youth only said, "A man who fears death is already dead. I will meet the dragon and bind him." The elders blessed him with cola nuts and palm oil. The women sang war songs, and the hunters beat their drums to awaken courage. That night, as he prepared, he heard the birds whispering in the trees. The dragon does not sleep. His eyes burn like fire. His breath poisons the grass. Go with wisdom, not with pride. The next morning, he rode the iron horse toward the north. The land grew quiet. No birds sang. No antelope leapt. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then he saw it. The dragon lay across a valley, its body covering the ground like a hill. Its tail coiled around trees and crushed them like dry sticks. Its eyes burned red as palm oil lamps, and every breath that left its mouth was a cloud of poison. The ground beneath it was black, stripped of life. The youth's heart trembled, but he remembered a proverb. A coward dies many times before his death. The brave man dies only once. He drove the iron horse forward. Its wheels thundered, and the spear gleamed in the sun. The dragon lifted its head. For the first time in many years, it faced a man who did not run. The dragon roared. The sound was like mountains breaking apart. Trees fell, rivers trembled, and men in far-off villages clutched their ears in fear. The youth shouted the chants the magician had taught him. The iron horse sped forward like lightning. The great spear struck the dragon's open mouth and drove deep into its throat. The monster writhed in pain, striking the ground with its tail. Earth split, rocks flew, and the sky darkened as if night had come too soon. But the chains held fast. The youth pulled them tight, binding the dragon to the ground. It twisted and thrashed, yet the more it fought, the tighter the chains grew. Still its eyes glowed. Still its breath poisoned the air. And still, its strength had not fully left it. The youth knew the battle was far from over. The dragon lashed its tail, and the iron horse was thrown into the air. The youth clung tightly, shouting the words of power. With the ring on his thumb, his grip was stronger than chains. The beast tried to swallow him, but the spear jammed its jaws apart. Its poison hissed into the air, burning leaves and grass. The youth's skin itched, and his breath grew short, but he pressed on. He struck the dragon's head with his fist, and the ground cracked under the blow. 3 times he struck. 3 times the earth shook. But still the dragon lived. The youth remembered the magician's final words. Bind him, weaken him, then finish him. Do not strike too soon, or you will perish. He held fast, waiting for the moment when the fire in the dragon's eyes would dim. And in that terrible struggle between man and monster, the fate of the earth hung like a calabash on a shaking rope. The chains groaned and rattled. The dragon's roars shook the mountains, but its strength was fading. Each time it opened its jaws, the spear cut deeper into its throat. Blood dark as palm wine spilled onto the ground, hissing like hot oil on firewood. The youth tightened the chains, chanting words that made the iron glow. The beast tried to rise, but its legs quivered. It leapt once, twice, but could no longer reach the sky. The villagers watching from far hills whispered, "The sun does not rise twice in one day. Perhaps the end of our terror is near." But the elders shook their heads. "Do not clap until the dance is finished." The youth raised his hand, and the ring burned with light. He shouted the secret words. The iron horse reared back, and the spear thrust forward with all the strength of the earth. It pierced the dragon's heart. A scream tore from the monster's throat, so loud that rivers dried, birds dropped from the sky, and the ground split into deep cracks. The dragon fell upon its side. Its tail thrashed once, twice, then lay still. Its fiery eyes dimmed, turning dull like cold ashes. Its breath faded, and the land grew quiet again. At last, the dragon of the north was dead. The youth stood upon the iron horse, his chest heaving, sweat pouring down his face. He lifted his hand to the heavens and declared, "The earth is free." The people cried with joy. They danced, they sang, they beat their drums until the night was full of music. But the elders murmured among themselves, "Victory has many fathers, but pride has no mother. Let us see how this young man wears his crown." The youth was welcomed back as a hero. Chiefs offered him kola nuts and the best palm wine. Maidens danced before him. Hunters laid their finest animal skins at his feet. The king of the land sent word, "Come to my palace. Sit at my right hand. Share my throne, for you have done what no man before you could do." But the youth shook his head. "I will come, but first I must guard the ring, for without it I am nothing." He slept that night with the ring on his thumb, never letting it leave his sight. Yet even in his joy, his heart felt uneasy. He remembered the old magician's warning. Power is a fire. If you do not hold it carefully, it will burn you. As the youth celebrated, the old magician returned. His face was full of smiles, but his eyes glittered like a snake's in the dark. "Well done, son of the earth," he said. "You have killed the dragon. But remember, you promised me a share of the prize. Give me the ring, that I too may wear it." The youth frowned. "I promised you thanks, not the ring. Without it, I would have died. And without it, the earth will not be safe. No, old man, the ring stays with me." The magician's smile never left his lips. "Do you think wisdom dies with the young? Do you think fire burns only for you? The ring belongs to the wise, not the strong. Hand it over, or you will regret it." But the youth stood firm. "A man who gives away his spear before the hunt has begun is a fool. I will not give you the ring." The magician bowed low. "So be it." But as he turned away, he whispered a charm under his breath. That night, while the youth slept, The magician crept in like a shadow, stole the ring, and vanished. At dawn, the youth awoke and found his hand bare. The ring was gone. His heart broke like a calabash dropped on stone. He searched, but the magician was nowhere to be found. Without the ring, the iron horse would not move, and his strength faded to that of an ordinary man. The people wept. They feared the magician might raise the dragon's spirit, or worse, bring new terrors upon the earth. The youth sat in silence, his head bowed. At last, the oldest elder of the village came to him and said, "My son, you fought well, and for that we honor you. But hear this truth. Power that rests in one man's hand is like palm oil in the sun. It will always melt away. What saves the people is not one man's strength, but the wisdom of the many." And so the tale of the dragon of the north was told for generations. Children learned that bravery can slay monsters, but wisdom must guard the victory. For as the elders say, the hunter who kills the lion is brave, but the village that eats the lion together is wise.